The most important gift my father gave to me was his music. But he did not want me to pursue a career in being a musician. I quit college and I came home and my father says, "Oh, Jesus, what are you going to do now?" I said, "Dad, I'm going to play my music around the world." He says, "Joanie, oh my God, I'll never sleep a wink with you." My heart is happiest when I'm playing the penny whistle. The community I live in is very much an Irish-American community. You have the Irish butcher and you have the Irish coffee shops and the Irish pubs. This neighborhood is really Irish. My father was dying to have a child that played Irish music, and I came along. He learned his music from his great uncles. The music has been passed down and passed down and passed down. My father, he started me on fiddle lessons, and I took fiddle for a year and a half. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. And then we had a piano, and I took 2 weeks of lessons on the piano, and I didn't like the piano. And then one day, I saw the whistle. And as soon as I heard it, oh my God, that was it. There's whistles everywhere. This is my life, organized chaos. Once I started playing, I wouldn't stop. And I used to play while we're watching television. So my brothers finally made an agreement that I could only play during commercials. So I would play on commercials, but then I would go and the whistle would be gone. And I'll never forget when we sold the house and we were moving. I found out my brothers and sister were taking the whistles and shoving them down the couch. There was about 13 of them down there. Well, this was given to me by a whistle class, and they all signed it, one of my students. I didn't even remember this one. Yeah, but each one has a story. It's funny. In 1983, I went to Ireland and competed over in the All-Ireland Championship along with wonderful friends of mine who happened to be all women, and we had a great year. I won the whistle, which was what I was going to do, and I was the first American to win it. When I came home, I received a phone call from my great friend, Dr. McMaloney, and he thought we should get a concert series together in celebration. Mick is a professor of ethnomusicology. He said, "I went to the Philadelphia Irish Musician Society. In over 100 years," he said, "you know how many members were women?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "0. Cherish the Ladies began in 1985, and here we are, 36 years later. When we first started playing, people thought we were like a Spice Girls kind of a thing, that we were just these bunch of girls thrown together for a marketing ploy. And then we'd start to play and entertain, and they'd go, "Damn, you girls really can play." I'm a girl from the Bronx who's made my living playing traditional Irish music, recorded 24 albums so far, and I've toured all over the world. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that was possible. We started out as just an Irish-American band, and now we're considered one of the top Irish Celtic groups in the world. Mary's dad and my dad, they were great buddies. Her father was a great accordion player as well. And I remember when we would do concerts, they'd all be at the back of the hall, all the dads lined up. And after each tune, you'd see them all going like this. You know, we used to be more worried about what our fathers would think of each album instead of the New York Times. You ready? My parents came to watch me play with the Boston Pops up at Tanglewood. I looked down and I was playing a solo with the 100-piece orchestra. My father was crying. You know, he said, Jesus, you did it. You did everything you said you were going to do. And he'd be so proud to see me today. Anybody who says they got it from the wind, they're full of it. You got it from all these people that have given their hearts and their souls, passing the music down and given their time. It's music from the birds and the bees, and there's something in it that touches people.